Live on YouTube as well. Got YouTube and IG right there. For some reason, TikTok's not going, but that's all right. Going to try a little bit different this time. We're going to do some whiteboard stuff as well as answer questions. So let me know where you're from in the chat box. Throw where you're from in the chat box. And this is your first live, whether you're watching this live or the recording, because I will say the recording. If you're watching this, the recording, just want to let you know we're going to talk all things real estate. I'm going to show you how to create wealth through real estate, all for free on this live. I'm not going to ask you for anything except to interact. Even if you're watching this live or after the fact, let us know where you're from. Jared, LFG, let's go. Let's get this thing rocking. We just went live about a minute early on YouTube because we got a little excited. That's the first time you came over. You got a little
You're
early.
Always late. I like early. Let's go.
All right, awesome. Sweet. So we're going to answer some questions. We're going to talk a little bit about the market. Shazad's going to help us out. Then I'm going to do a lot of whiteboard stuff like I usually do. So awesome. Let me know where you're from and share this live if you have not. Like it, hit that darn like button. It really helps us, and share this live. I'm going to drop a lot of really good knowledge on this live. We're going to talk about the three main ways people invest in real estate without using any of your own money. If you're tired of the stalling, just, if you're watching the recording, just, go forward 1 minute or two. So let us know where you're from. This is your first live. Let me know. If you've been on lives before, let me know that as well. But there's three main ways to invest in real estate, Shazad. I think you might know them, but we're gonna.
I would hope so.
There's three main ways. So, what are the three main ways to invest in real estate? Throw them in the chat box. What are the three main ways that you know how to invest in real estate? Three ways that there's a lot of different things, but there's three main buckets that people use to invest in real estate. Shazad's going to kind of keep track of that. Keep your questions coming, see where everybody's from. But there's three main ways. The first way is wholesaling real estate. Again, we are going to talk about how to do this without spending any of your own money. What's up, Haley? Haley won our free mentorship. We gave away our mentorship on our YouTube channel a couple of last week, and she won the free mentorship worth several $1,000s. Wholesale, fix and flip, and buy and hold. Facebook users, that's usually Dusty, but those are the three main ways: wholesaling, flipping, and rentals. Sheezy, which one's your favorite and why?
By far, rental portfolio, because that's how you build wealth.
That's your favorite?
Definitely.
Awesome. Well, the beautiful thing is you don't need any of your own money for any of them. Let's just get rocking and rolling. Let us know where you're from, and throw your chats in the chat box if you want as well. We're going to talk about here in about 5 minutes, going to give away a little bit of some information on a challenge we got coming up next week. So judge by the number, this wasn't a good thing to do. All right. So which one do you guys want to talk about first? 1, 2, or 3? Which one would you rather talk about, wholesaling, flipping, or rentals? Again, you can do all this without using any of your own money. Make sure you're liking this, sharing this, commenting. We're going to give a lot of free information away, so share it with your friends who are interested in real estate investing for sure. So which one do you guys want to talk about first? 1, 2, or 3? Throw your votes in the chat box there. Let's kind of see what the votes are, Sheezy, as they coming in.
Let's go.
And then put it on the main screen. 2, flipping. We never get 2. It's always 1s or 3s. We're going to talk about all 3. I just was curious at your all's level of interest in 1, 2, or 3. Nova Scotia, Canada. I like it. I like it. Perfect. All right. Well, not quite going as planned, but that's all right. Let's start out. We're going to talk about all 3. So wholesaling. So some pros and cons of wholesaling, Shazad. See if you can think of any more. The biggest thing about wholesaling, it doesn't require any money. It doesn't require any credit. And if you do it the right way, there is no risk.
Love it.
So that's the beautiful thing about wholesaling is it doesn't require any money, doesn't require any credit, and there's no risk if you do it the right way. Cheesy, is it easier to have money?
It is easier to have
money. Is it easier to have credit?
It is easier.
Yes. So it is easier to have money and credit. We're not going to lie to you, but it is not 100% necessary. You do not 100% have to have those things to wholesale real estate. It looks like the comments are just delayed is why I thought they weren't coming in. Texas, love your life. Gotcha. Awesome. So Texas, Texas, those damn Texas people. So no money, no credit, no risk. How many of you on here understand what wholesaling is? Don't worry, I'm going to explain it and break it down, but let me know if you understand what it is. Yeah, click wholesale. If you understand, this would be a little higher. If you understand what it is, I'm still going to explain it on here, but just kind of wanted your thoughts if you understand what wholesaling is. Oh, I wrote, yeah, there it is. Yep. So wholesaling real estate. Shazad, why don't you, in a nutshell, explain what wholesaling real estate is, then I'll do the same. And if you have any questions about it, throw them in the chat box. Shazad's going to pull them up as we're talking about wholesaling, and then we're going to talk about rentals, then flipping.
Right on. So the wholesaling is basically getting a property under contract and selling that contract, selling that paper to an end user investor like a flipper, like a landlord. And the great thing is you don't have to swing a hammer. You don't have to rehab the property. You don't have to find tenants. It's in and out of the transaction, get it under contract, assign it to somebody else, move on to the next one.
Yeah, so wholesaling, I like that. That's how I describe it too. Basically, what wholesaling is flipping real estate without fixing it up. So you think of like, how do you flip real estate? You buy a house, you fix it up, you sell it. This, you just get a house under contract and you sell it. So let's break real estate down to its core, and then we'll talk about what wholesaling is as part of it. So can everyone agree that this is what real estate investing is at its core? It is taking a distressed house, making it nice, and making money from it. So it's taking a, distress. This is a sad house, fixing it up, making it nice, making it happy, and then either renting it, selling it for money. Can we all agree that this is what real estate investing is at its core?
Yep.
So let's start with that's what a real estate investment looks like. Now, when you're wholesaling, you're living in the transaction, meaning you're living just right here. Throw your questions in the chat box. There you go. Hey, Sheezy, here in a minute, you can answer that question. So when you're wholesaling, you're just living in the transaction. Before I move on, you can answer the question if you'd like. Closing the wholesale deal. How do you find cash buyers? How do you find cash buyers when you're wholesaling?
So there's a few ninja level techniques that I could share, but basically, if you're going to get into wholesaling, you always want to be building your cash buyers list. And the quickest, simplest way is to go into your local Facebook meetup groups and say, hey guys, I'm a wholesaler looking to build my buyers list. Who's buying properties in, West County, St. Louis, or in these zip codes? You want to keep it sort of general, but you want to be building that buyers list all the time.
Yep, for sure. I like it. So when you're doing a real estate investing transaction, this is what it looks like. When you're wholesaling, you're just living in the transaction is kind of a word that I've been saying a lot that I kind of makes sense to me. So let me explain that. So you go to a distressed house, you find a distressed home seller, and the house is distressed or they got an issue. So you're helping them out by buying their house. So what you do is you get their house under contract to purchase for $150,000. You write a contract that says, I'm going to buy your house for $150,000 in 45 days. So you get it under contract on this date, and then 45 days later, you're going to close on it. Okay? So that is the general transaction. That's kind of how it's going to work. However, in those first 2 weeks, you're going to sell the property. It's different than most of y'all think. It's not under contract, close and sell. It's under contract, then sell, then close. So in that first 2 weeks, you sell the property for $175,000. You sell that piece of paper for $175,000. Then on that 45th day, the seller gets $150,000. How much do you get in this example? The seller gets their $150,000. You sold it for $175,000. How much do you get paid for not even fixing it up?
I know.
What is it?
$25K.
$25K. I like it. You made $25,000 and you didn't have to do anything except get it under contract and find a buyer. So that is wholesaling real estate. I would say the national average for a wholesale fee is probably $25,000 because it's probably $15,000 in St. Louis, and we're usually on the mid to lower end. So the national average is probably $25,000. Get a question while I get this erased.
Yeah. So JPUSA asks, can't flippers find them themselves? And Haley, who won our free mentorship a couple weeks ago, is already answering questions. You go, Haley. So she talks about how some flippers want to build their portfolio and don't have time to look at every house. Really great point. But it's actually part of a much bigger conversation, right? And I'll go back to the question, right? So yes, flippers can find properties themselves. Landlords can find properties themselves. But if you're wholesaling, that's all you're doing. All you're doing is looking for properties and then disposing of those properties through your buyers list. So if that's what you focus on in real estate, it's important to remember that whatever you focus on is going to get bigger, better, stronger, faster. So what you got to understand is wholesalers are doing this all day, every day, looking for properties, getting them under contract, and selling them to investors like us. So because that's all they're doing, they get really good at it, really efficient at it. As a flipper and as a landlord, of course, if I can get properties under contract myself without using a wholesaler, of course I'm going to take that opportunity. But I have about 10 different wholesalers bringing me deals all the time. I say no to most of them, but you want to get a good team of wholesalers bringing you deals.
Can I make fun of you or not?
A little bit.
Okay. He's standing. I'm standing. All right, here we go. That was good. He's not
so
stingy.
mean.
I'm kidding. All right. So we're talking about flipping real estate. So some pros and cons of flipping are flipping. You can make a good chunk of money. You can make a lot more. It's fine. Just click over there. You can make a good chunk of money, wholesaling, but you usually make bigger chunks flipping. So you can hit it and hide it. Oh, there you go. You can make bigger chunks flipping. So that's the pros. Some cons of flipping. What are kind of some like maybe drawbacks or some risks that come along with flipping?
So here's the thing with flipping, right? You got to get your numbers just right. And especially when you're just starting out, there's going to be a lot of stuff you don't know, right? So if you think about it, flipping is simply buying a house, fixing it up, and selling it. So it's a one-time transaction. It's only going to pay you one time in life. So you got to get your numbers right. And that takes time and patience and skill development. So a lot of flippers, they'll tell you stories. Their first couple flips they didn't make any money. Some of them lose money, right? So the rental game is a much more forgiving game because it pays you for the rest of your life versus flipping, which pays you once.
Yeah, and it's risky. You got to manage the rehab. You got to do the work or manage the rehab. So there's just a lot more work and risk involved because you do close on it, but you can make a lot more money. So let's talk about flipping. It's pretty simple. So that last house, you were the wholesaler and now you're the flipper. So you bought that house from the wholesaler for $175,000. You put 50 grand into it. You repaired it and you made it nice. So you have 225 into it. So let's not talk about using your own money or not at this point, but 225,000 is basically your break even. There's fees and closing costs, but let's not get too complicated with this. Assuming you sell your house for more than 225, you'll make money. However much above that 225 you sell, you can make even more money. And good point, Nick. Flipping is fun. That's one of the main reasons people do it, because it's fun to take an old house and knock down walls and reimagine a kitchen. That is fun. It's a lot more. Wholesaling's more about the rush of the deal. You're not creating something, right?
Yeah.
And
Nick, excellent point. That's why I put it up on the screen. And so let's talk about that a little bit, right? As a real estate investor, you're going to find that there's parts of the business that you really like, right? Like you personally really like certain aspects of the trade, and other parts you may not like, right? So it's important as an investor, as you're building your long-term goals and strategies, to really lean into the parts of the business that you do like, because that's what you're going to be the most passionate about and excited about. So start to figure those things out. If you really like flipping houses, God bless, flip houses. But you want to be very in tune with who you are and what your skill set is and what you enjoy and what you're passionate about.
I love it. Good work. So let's say you sell this house for $300 minus your $225 you have into it. Again, we're keeping it simple. So you made $75 grand. Now that's assuming that you use your own money. Let's say you borrowed money because you don't have it. And a lot of people say, I don't want to borrow money, Shazad. I'm not going to use somebody else's money. I'm going to wait and pay cash. I'm going to save up to that $225,000. But let's say somebody wanted to split the profits with you. How much would you make on that $75,000 deal?
37.5.
Yep. So I guess times 0.5, I guess is the way to do it.
Right.
Equals 37.5. So would you rather, if you're going to save up, would you rather make $0 or $37,500? Which
37.5.
Correct. And most people won't have you split it. Most people will, on this example, if you borrow money, most of the time you'll probably be paying 15 to 20 grand. So you'll keep 50 to 55,000.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. So we call that joint venture, right? JV. When you're early on, sometimes you got a JV, and then, as you gain more experience and skill and resources and money, you can be the JV for younger investors, right? So it's sort of like a pay it forward type of situation. But when I got started in real estate, I JV'd all the time.
I like it. I'm getting ready to write SamFasterFreedom.com/level up. Tell them about it.
Man, so this coming week, Monday through Friday.
At the bottom too here in a minute.
Okay. So this coming week, it's Sam's birthday week. He's turning 34? 34 on the 29th. And so next week is his birthday week, right? So what we did is we decided to do a challenge. It's a 5-day challenge where we're going to go through a ton of great content, including mindset, finding deals, funding deals, rehabbing houses, scaling your business. 5 days, every day, Monday through Friday. We're going to go live for an hour from 3 to 4 p.m. Central. And that entire 5-day package, tell them how much it is.
It's going to be $3,400.
Nope, $87. $87. Can you believe that for 5 days? 1 hour a day, content from a guy who has a $25 million portfolio.
Because I
That's pretty
was
amazing.
born in 87.
Born in 87.
Good thing I wasn't born in 2040. We'd be $2,040.
Exactly. So because he was born in 87, we decided to go $87 for the challenge. Hope to see you guys there.
Awesome. We'll be doing this kind of stuff, but way more detail. All right. So rentals. Let's talk about rentals. So Sheezy, see, I don't think you've seen me do it this way. It's so hard to explain. I'm going to talk. All right. First, I'm going to give the basics of rentals, and then I'll talk about using other people's money.
All right.
So this is what a rental property. We're using the same happy, sad house, a happy rental house. Guess what? With a happy tenant. All right. And then the tenant pays you rent. Even during COVID, we collected rent. All right. So I don't know. Have you seen me do this one yet?
No. What are we talking
It's
about?
pretty slick. All right. So this is the simple rental, right? Everybody agrees. This is what a rental property looks like. You have a nice house that you have a happy tenant paying you rent, right? That's the happy part. The kind of potential issue is, guess what? You have owning expenses. There are 6 major owning expenses when it comes along to owning rental property. What are those 6 expenses? Throw them in the chat box. Me and she's going to go through them, but they are a mortgage. They are taxes, insurance, maintenance. My writing's not perfect. Get over it. Vacancy, and property management. So when you own a rental property, that's awesome. You have a tenant, you own a house, but you have these six main owning expenses. The beautiful thing about real estate and rental properties is, guess what? You take the rent and you pay the mortgage. You take the rent, you pay the taxes. You take the rent, you pay insurance. You take the rent, you pay the mortgage, vacancy, property management, and then there's cash flow left over. So all your owning expenses are paid by the rent, plus you get cash flow left over. And then guess what? Over time, this house goes up in value. And remember that mortgage was paid down. The tenant pays the mortgage down. So over time, your equity and net worth grows, and you don't have to spend any of your own money to do it. Like, that is so powerful. I don't even know how to explain the power in that, but let's talk a little bit about rentals. Then I'm going to draw another chart.
Yeah, and the thing to keep in mind, guys, rentals is, real estate is not a get rich quick situation, right? It's a get rich for sure situation. But building your systems, your processes, your team of people, including wholesalers, bankers, contractors, and the like, it's a long game, right? So building a rental portfolio, you got to be honest with yourself. Are you the kind of person that's in it for a quick buck? Maybe rental portfolio isn't right for you. But if you're someone who's looking to build wealth that you can pass down for generations, rental portfolio might be the game for you.
I love it. So, Sheezy,
yes.
I've never done this with you. So let's talk about not using any of your own money. The easiest way to explain this, it's crazy. This concept took me up until this year to really, really fully grasp the power of this. So here's what you do. You borrow money. So you borrow money from a private lender and a bank, okay?
Yeah.
So you borrow money from a private lender and a bank. You take that money to buy a house, an asset that produces cash and grows in value. And then that house pays you cash. And then you take the cash and you pay that person back. You still keep some for yourself, but you pay that person back. Then over time, those people are paid off and you still own this asset, and then your cash flow doubles. So you're borrowing money from somebody to buy an asset that produces cash, and you take the cash that produces and you pay people back. So you're owning a house, but you're never, ever using any of your own money, and you get paid while you're doing it. And then over time, again, the house goes up in value, the mortgage is paid down to zero, and then you really cash flow, and your asset probably tripled in value by the time you get it paid off. It's just so much power in that. It's hard to simply explain it, but it's beyond measure how much power is in that.
Yeah, well said, well said. So the power, guys, we're doing an illustration of one property, but scaling your business, which is what we teach in our mentorship program, that's where the real power comes from. Owning one house is great. It's better than zero. Owning 2 houses is great. It's better than 1. But the real power in what we do comes from scale. Owning 10 properties, 20 properties, 50 properties. And then that's where you're going to see just all these different things that you never would have thought were in the realm of possibility, all of a sudden become very, very possible. And that's exciting.
Yep, I agree. I want to do one more thing with rentals, and then we'll get to a few questions. Throw your questions in the chat box. So talk about debt. So I do this on my TikTok and Instagram lives a lot, but never once done it on a YouTube live. So Sam's debt. Right now, I currently owe, meaning my debt, $15 million. It's a lot of money, Shazad.
It is.
I owe $15 million, but that allows me to own $25 million. So what's the difference? I have 10 million. Lucas and I have 10 million in net worth and equity, however you want to look at it, because we are in debt. Had I not gone into debt, $15 million, I would not have 10 million. If I try to pay cash for everything, I would probably own $1 million worth of property. So if I try to pay cash, I'd have 1 million, but I'm not paying cash. I have 10 million. It's such a better return. It's not even funny. Just going into debt to buy assets that produce cash is so important, and it's so powerful. Is the great way to do that. What do you got there, Sheezy?
Yeah, so this is if you're basically keeping things status quo, right? Over time, your properties appreciate and your mortgage gets paid down. But guess what, guys? As you build as an investor, as you grow, you get smarter, better, faster, stronger, and that results in raised rents over time and increased efficiencies. And those economies of scale is what we call them. Those economies of scale only contribute more to the accumulation of wealth.
Agreed 100%. So yeah, real estate investing is super powerful. It's a great way to make a lot of money, whether you have money or not. I have a couple questions for sure.
All right. Man, we do it all. No.
Yeah. So I guess we should introduce ourselves at the beginning.
Yeah.
So we flip 250 houses a year. About 175 to 200 of them are wholesales. The other 75-ish are actual fix and flips. And then we have, in our office here, we have over 500 rental properties.
Between all of our staff. So obviously Sam and Lucas, they're business partners. They're the big dogs. They're at 196 stores.
Mm-hmm.
Man. Brian Schroeder, the founder of our company, he mostly does single family homes. I think he's at 124. And then a bunch of guys on our team have awesome portfolios. Dennis and his business partner, Brian, have 28. Cam and his wife, Lexi, have 22. I have 9. Several of mine are Airbnb. But yeah, all of us, we're all, we wanted to surround ourselves with like-minded people, all crushing it in the game at different levels. And that's where we get to come to work every day. It's freaking awesome.
It's really, really awesome. Great question. Make sure you're following my TikTok, my YouTube, my Instagram. Level Up Challenge. Go to fastfreedom.com/level-up. Check it out. It's next week. It's 5 days. Shazad and I are going to be teaching. It's $87. So it's
incredible.
It's a week's worth of coffee is what it is. So check that out, and we will see you next week. Every Wednesday we go live. We probably won't do this format again, but we'll see. Have a good day.